because what you're gonna find is that there are plenty of them, and they hide sometimes. Yeah, you can't find them. And one thing I know is that things can go flying. Okay, I do not feel like every technician is really truly aware of what is hazardous and what is not. They're not truly aware of the seriousness of what hazardous means. Okay. Hey y'all, glad you came. I'm Monique. Welcome and welcome back. Today we're talking all things pharmacy, in particular things that you need to know about working in the hospital pharmacy, right? So we covered the retail pharmacy in the video before this one. Now we're covering the hospital pharmacy because it is different, okay? So we'll go through each one. There are a few more than 5 for this, okay? So number 1 is going to be knowing a stat order versus a non-stat order. Now this is usually more important in the IV room if you're working that shift. So you need to understand that when it's something stat in the hospital setting that is very serious, it is an emergency. That means you stop what you are doing and you go and you make that medication right then and there. You have to work fast, okay? Because someone's life is depending on you getting that done fast, right? It has to come from you to the pharmacist, to the nurse, to the patient, all right? So you are essential, okay? Especially if someone is having a stroke, right? Okay, so if it's non-stat, that will fall into the category of something that is like waiting. So it's not necessarily stat, but it is waiting, which means they do want it fast, but you know, maybe you have a minute or two, right? And then if you have something on the batch, that's different because that's something that the doctors have, you know, already pre-ordered. It's already, you know, been verified. It's basically on the schedule of medication list for the patient. And so that means that like you'll get a batch at 9 a.m. and maybe that batch has maybe 20 different IV medications on it, and none of those are due until, you know, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So you have some time, you see. So stat, ER, emergency, waiting, work fast, batch, get back at your own pace, and, you know, you can take your time and really, you know, go into your own mode of working, right? So you still want to be steady, but understanding that those things are not, you know, due until hours after you make them, essentially. Now, that's important to know because sometimes you could be making your batch for the afternoon and a stat could come through. And what does that mean? That means you stop making what you were making and you focus on the stat, okay? Okie dokie. All right, number 2 is going to be learning the PICC line. Now, when you work in the hospital pharmacy, there are several medications, okay? So you have intravenous medications, which are in vials and bags, and then you have your by mouth, your tablets, your liquids, and then you have your topical, which could be ears, eyes, creams. You also have your respiratory, which could be your albuterols, different things like that. So all of these things are in different sections, okay? So learning the PICC line means knowing where the pills are, right? And knowing in which way they are designed to be organized. So like A through Z. Understand where A is, understand where Z is. Okay, that's gonna help you find stuff, right? Understand what is hazardous, what is non-hazardous. If it is hazardous and it is in the category that requires it to be in its own room, you should know that, because imagine you're looking for a medication you don't know, but it's not even on the PICC line, it's in the hazardous room. So get to know that, okay? All right, and then when you're, same thing, when you're on the IV side, you have a lot of vials. Those vials could go from A to Z. Figure out how they go from A to Z. Does it start going like this and like that, or like this and like this, right? That'll help you find stuff quicker. And then when you're getting over to your topicals, I find that a lot of times people have issues with the topicals because a lot of times they'll put topicals like creams and stuff along with like enemas and, you know, ear stuff and eye stuff. Just understand that usually the alphabet starts over within a category. So basically you'll have an entire wall that is like, you know, all of topicals, but it'll be A through Z for creams, A through Z for ears, A through Z for eyes, you know, A through Z for respiratory medications. You know what I'm saying? So it is A through Z, but within its own category, okay? So hopefully you understood that. All right. So yeah, get familiar with the PICC line. If you find somebody that picks really fast, work with them. Work with them. Ask them where things are. There will be nuances. There will be things that are not in alphabetical order. There will be things that are somewhere random in the pharmacy, but you will only know that if you work that pick line. I'll be honest, it's probably not the easiest thing to do when you first start because you don't know where anything is. It can be very frustrating. However, over time, you'll get used to it and you will, know where the majority of things are that you're looking for. Okay. All right. So number 3 is organize before delivery. Now, this is my favorite. Okay. So I love to deliver. That is my favorite thing to do in the hospital. I have pretty much worked in every department, and delivery is, we are besties. Okay. So when it comes to delivery, I like to organize first. What am I delivering? Right. So typically, I'm delivering, pills, okay, right, obviously, for the Pyxis machine, whatever machine that you all have in your facility. So I have that, and then I also have IVs. Remember that batch I was talking about earlier from the IV tech? Well, when that IV tech finishes those batches, then it's up to me as a delivery tech to deliver those medications to the specific patient bins on the floors, okay? So I'm going all over the hospital. And that's what I love. I love seeing all the nurses. I love just seeing all the different units and how they run. And so this is honestly too, if you want to be a nurse and you're a pharmacy technician, it's a great way to figure out which unit you want to work on because you get to see the culture, up close and personal, right? When you're delivering medications. So anyway, I usually get all of my I cannot talk. I usually get all of my by mouth medications, like my pills for the Pyxis machine or whatever machine that they have. And I have that. And then I have my IVs, right? And anything else that is like patient specific that I need to put together. What I'll do is I'll organize everything by the floor. Okay. So if I have, floors 4 through 7 or 4 through 8, everything that goes to, fourth floor is going in this particular bag, right? And I will, then when I get everything in the bags, then I'll like line my bags up. Okay. So I have like the bag for 4, the bag for 5, the bag for 6, have everything organized. I don't have to take everything at once. Usually depends on where I'm working. I work in different areas of the hospital. So sometimes I can take maybe 3 floors at a time, or I can maybe take 9 floors at a time because sometimes it's not that many, medications or IVs. Whatever the case may be, I get my marker. I usually have like a Sharpie that's like really thick, and I write on my bag which floor I'm going to. I make sure I know the name of the Pyxis or whatever machine that your hospital uses. Know the name, always match it up, okay? Always check, because if you are not the pick line picker, then you don't know what's in that bag. So don't assume that, everything is correct because you didn't pick it. So make sure you're looking at what's in your hand, what you scan, and what goes in the machine. I can tell you right now, depending on who picks, sometimes they don't always separate the pills. So, you got to pay attention. They should, but that's just the thing. I mean, hey, people should do a lot of things, right? And so you got to pay attention yourself. It's your responsibility now. So once medication is in your hands, now it's your responsibility to make sure everything is delivered correctly, okay? So take your time. Slow down. You have time as the delivery tech most of the time, because usually you're delivering things that are scheduled, okay? But also understand too that when you are delivery tech, you have stat things as well. And so stat for you means that you need to get to that place first. And typically, just by rule of thumb, what I do is I go to all of my ICUs first. If it's intensive care unit, that's where I'm going first. They are the sickest people in the hospital, okay? So I'm going to their units first, and then I will go to other units. Sometimes you will have ICUs that are on the same floor as, your non-ICU patients. They'll share a floor but a different section, okay? So it just depends. Like I said, everywhere is different. So that is organization and delivery. All right, so next up is orienting yourself to where the Pyxis machines are, or whatever machine that your hospital uses. Because what you're going to find is that there are plenty of them, and they hide sometimes. Yeah, you can't find them. So you definitely want to make sure that when you are in training that you kind of take note, draw you a little map, do a little star beside something that makes no sense, like the medication room being completely out of place, okay? Because that definitely can happen. A lot of times too, that's something that is not necessarily so big, no, you have to actually be trained to where that is, right? So, yeah. So just take that training seriously, take notes, and just understand too that you need to, make sure that you know where they are, because you can get lost. And then it just kind of wastes your time, because then it just makes your delivery much longer than what it has to be, right? Remember, we're going all around the hospital, so we don't want to waste our time, okay? All right, next thing is make note of important codes during your shift until you memorize them, okay? What this means is if there's any room or place that you need to be as a technician that you have access to and it has a code, you need to remember it. Because what will happen is you'll get there and you have all these medications and you can't deliver them because you know the code, right? And hey, nowadays with security being really tight, people are not always trying to give out codes, okay? As they should not, right? As they should be secretive, right? And so that being the case, you definitely want to make sure that you write down those codes and make notes of them until it's like ingrained in your head. And that comes with time. As you deliver and you press those numbers over and over, you'll get it, okay? So yes. The next thing is know your responsibilities throughout the day. So what that means is asking management, which they'll probably tell you, but just in case they don't, ask them, hey, do you guys have a list of task sheets for the different shifts? Typically they do. Get a hold to that task sheet and let that be your best friend when you first start until the day becomes routine for you, right? Until you know it like the back of your hand. Go ahead and get you a task list, okay? So that is something to look out for, to ask for. It will help you to make sure you're not forgetting something or leaving something off, or you're not doing a responsibility that is supposed to be on you, okay? All right, next up is wear gloves when handling hazardous medications. Now, this is something that is interesting because I do not feel like every technician is really truly aware of what is hazardous and what is not. They're not truly aware of the seriousness of what hazardous means, okay? Please understand that when it says hazardous, it is hazardous. Do not touch, okay? Do not touch with your bare hands. That could be medications that are typically used for oncology, okay? Medications that are used to sedate, okay, during surgery. Please, these things do have side effects, y'all. So when you're dealing with these things, if you spill something, do not touch it. Follow your facility's protocol. That's what we're going to say right there. But in general, when I'm pulling anything hazardous, especially if it's in a hazardous room, like it's not on the pick line, but it's in the actual room, then I'm going to be using my gloves. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. All right, so follow your facility's protocol. All right, the next thing, wear eye gear and goggles in the IV room. It's the same thing, eye gear, goggles. So basically, you will not see people doing this all the time. I mean, to each its own. Some people actually wear glasses anyway. Listen, I wear goggles because I've been working in the pharmacy for a long time. And one thing I know is that things can go flying, okay? Needles can break. Syringes can break, they can come loose, and what you are pushing in that IV bag can get everywhere, including on you. So although you have all your PPE, if you don't have on goggles on your eyes, then those things can get in your eyes, right? And so you want to be careful, and your IV room will always have a way for you to protect your eyes. They have a face shield and or goggles. You can even ask for that if you don't see it. You can ask someone, hey, do you guys have a pair of goggles? Or maybe the person who does your ordering for your pharmacy, like your inventory, hopefully they're kind enough to, order those, because that's something to protect you. That's part of your PPE, all right? So definitely ask about that. Again, you will not see people using them all the time. That doesn't mean that you don't use them, okay? So you follow your facility's protocol, but I'm telling you that I wear goggles, okay? All right, so the next thing and the last thing is cross-train to be able to pick up extra hours. So the hospital is full of shifts, okay? And what that means is there are shifts in all areas of the pharmacy at all times that need help, essentially. And they'll usually have a running list of, what still needs to be filled for the PRN technicians or the pharmacist interns. So you can't really participate in that if you don't know all of the tasks, right? So make sure that you kind of get in there, talk to your manager about the cross training. Typically they do this anyway, but make sure you know how to work in the IV room. Make sure you know how to deliver. Make sure you know how to compound and how to pre-pack pills, right? Because that means you can pick up more shifts because you have a wider or a broader skill set. Okay, so it's really important to cross train if you can, if you want to. Some people may not want to cross train, but to me, I think it's very smart because for one, it bulks up your resume. It can actually help you make more money. You know, not a ton per hour, but $1 or $2 because you know how to make IVs. And then it can just help you be able to pick up, you know, some extra shifts along the way if you need to because you know how to do that particular skill set in the pharmacy. All right, so that's all that I have. Hopefully this is like really helpful because as you guys can tell, I really do enjoy working in the pharmacy, in the hospital. I like them all. I think they all have really good skill sets that are transferable to other things in life even. And so I think working in the hospital to me is a lot more autonomy, meaning that you do things by yourself. Like you walk around the hospital by yourself and you deliver medications, right? So you may have a lot more free time by yourself, a lot more time to hear yourself think, right? A little bit different from working in retail where it's more, you know, community and we're all just like together in this one place for 8 hours or whatever. So, which hey, I like that too, especially if you like your team, everybody's cool, that's cool too, right? So if you have any questions, let me know. And one thing I want to let you guys know too, which I don't know if you know or not, but if you made it this far to the video, that you may be also interested in further support, right, from me. And so if you are interested in that, I do have a website page. It is always linked in my video description section below this video. You open it up, it says more, there's everything there, y'all. So I have like notebooks you can buy to take your notes, right? I have a ebook, and the ebook, I would say it's like an e-guide. It's not like so many pages. Don't think book, like novel. It's like an e-guide. It's a few pages by 11 pages that are, you know, super designed. So they're easy to look at, easy to read, and it's easy to pull up on your phone when you're at work if you need to actually like look back at something like, oh yeah, what is the generic for this or whatever, right? So I put some of the top and the most common things that you'll run across in both the retail and hospital pharmacy in that ebook. It's very affordable, okay? So if you guys are interested in that ebook, that's always attached to the video somewhere over here, right? I'll try to put it in here. And then if it's not on the video, you can buy it directly from my website, which is, again, in the description section below. Say that 5 times. So there are resources, guys, plenty. I have resume resources for pharmacy, all the things, okay? So check those things out. Let me know what you'll be interested in. If you want something that I can make, then let me know, all right? So again, hopefully it was helpful. And I hope that you guys have a peaceful and productive rest of your day, and I will talk to you on the next upload.